Hello, and welcome to Side by Side with Gabi. My name is Gabriela Frois. I am a teacher and teacher educator, and this is my opportunity to introduce you to some of the teacher educators I know and respect. Today I'm talking to Paulo Camargo, a self-taught EFL teacher with an impressive journey of learning 7 languages on his own. He will share his insights on fostering autonomy in the classroom and why it is so important for language learners to do that. So let's get started. Paulo, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so very much for having me, Gabi. It's a pleasure being here with you.
So can you introduce yourself and share a bit about your journey as a self-taught language learner and teacher?
Yeah, sure thing. So, my history with languages has started around 15 years ago when I was 14 years old. I started studying English first, and then I found out about this passion I have for languages, and then I decided to start studying Spanish, and then French, and then Italian. Basically, I learned those languages because I was kind of demanded. People wanted to study, and since I come from a small town, there weren't many teachers available for teaching those languages. And then I decided to accept the challenge. I made some deals with the first students, and I told them I am not fully prepared, but I'm willing to learn the language, and then I can teach you. So that's basically what I did with these languages. And after that, I decided to go for German and Japanese, which has been a very interesting challenge for me because they're very different languages compared to the other ones that I already speak.
So let me try to understand it. The first second language you learned was English.
Yes.
So, and then you started teaching English before you learned a third language.
Yes, exactly. I started teaching when I was 19, and then I think maybe 2 years after I had started teaching English, some people went to the school where I worked at, and they were looking for Spanish teachers. And
And you
then I
didn't know any Spanish at that
not
time.
yet. Yeah, at that moment I didn't know any Spanish, and then I decided I talked to my boss, and I told him from now on I'm going to study Spanish. So next time we have demand, then I will be able to teach the students.
But you know, these things don't come easily, right? It's not a decision that anyone can make. Learning a language is not something that's simple. It sounds like it's very simple to you. However, I don't feel it is as simple as you describe. Let's put it this way, because we see everywhere people making the decision of learning a language, but not always does that decision mm, get concluded or get completed because there are many problems along the way. So what keeps you motivated into moving forward with the languages you are learning?
So I would say that I have some specific strategies when it comes to that, because it's so awesome. And I always tell this to
Hmm.
students, that the feeling of speaking a language to me is compared to having a superpower.
It is a
So
superpower.
when I felt that I was able to speak English for the first time, and I remember that, I remember the day this happened, and I realized I was able to communicate in a second language. That day, I felt that I was awesome. And then I decided to keep on doing that and learning other languages. And it was, and also for the point of view of a teacher, from the perspective of a teacher, helping people to achieve their goals. Because I know this is something special somehow. What I do, it is something special. The way I teach, the way I can transform the learning process into a simple way to the students. I can bring that to their eyes. They can see it is possible to learn a language. Is something so fulfilling that I think this becomes easy for me when it comes to learning
Mm,
because I want to help people. It's not only about myself, but the feeling of helping others
mm,
keeps me motivated as well. And also for the, I like this. I love this. I love learning languages because of the obvious reason that is I love traveling.
mhm,
So as a traveler, if there is something I could do to make my life easier when traveling is learning the local language. And I even spoke a little bit of Japanese, even though I was not in Japan. I had the opportunity to talk to a couple that I met in Barcelona, and I basically introduced myself to them in Japanese, and I felt like, okay, my Japanese is awesome. I can at least introduce myself. So basically, that's it. It's
mhm, mhm.
passion.
No, but it's interesting that you're mentioning the levels of motivation. It seems that this is going to be a constant theme in these interviews because um, the all the teachers I spoke to, they mentioned these very high levels of intrinsic motivation in themselves, which prompts them or propels them uh, to feel that they can do this for a student or that they can do this for another teacher. Uh, and I think it's really interesting that we take this into account in the sense that sometimes we mm, we demand intrinsic motivation from students, but we don't have them ourselves. This we don't have it ourselves. And I'm not saying that every teacher should be highly motivated because in the end of the day, it's a job. However, it really makes our lives easier when we are just as motivated as them, or when we have the motivation to encourage them to do better, right? Okay,
Yes, exactly.
very nice, very nice. And how do you think this experience that you have of speaking seven languages, of learning these seven languages yourself on your own, um, have has shaped your approach to teaching, and how do you apply this when it comes to fostering autonomy in the classroom?
First word that comes to my mind when hearing this question is empathy. I think the ability to exercise the possibility that I have to exercise empathy because I study other languages makes it easier for me to understand what struggles my students have, and therefore I can help them in a deeper manner because I go through the same things. I understand their struggle. I understand their frustration, and that makes much easier for me to show them that it's possible. So when a student comes to me and says, I'm struggling with numbers, I cannot memorize verbs, I don't remember verbs conjugation, I cannot understand grammar, I can always compare it to them what is going on with me. So I tell them, yeah, okay, I have had this experience with French. So I know what you're going through, but you will overcome that. I assure you that you will be able to overcome that. I understand you. It's a process. So this makes it our connection better. And then the student normally tends, is very inclined to accept what I'm saying and trusts me. The student trusts me because they know, they understand that what I'm saying is real because I have been through
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's related to, if I understand it well, maybe not so much because if we think about it, all of us went through this experience of learning a second language. Every English teacher has been there, but it does not necessarily translate to being as empathetic. maybe, I don't know if I don't want to be unfair, but as empathetic with students as you are, I think it might have to do with something I already talked about in a plenary I gave about the importance of being a learner. When we,
Hmm.
we put ourselves in the shoes of a learner, we become much more empathetic. And I think when we are in college learning English grammar and preparing ourselves to be teachers, of course, we are learners, but we are not the same kind of learner as they are. And recently, right? So after you become a teacher, having the experience to put yourself in the student's shoes makes a huge difference, I think. Would you agree?
No, totally, totally. I
Mm,
agree with that. And for me, the thing is, I am constantly uh, doing this.
yeah,
I haven't
exactly.
stopped learning languages. So it's very, very easy for me. It doesn't matter the level my students are. Whenever they complain about something, I say, "Okay, I understand you. I have been through that. Yeah, I have been struggling with advanced grammar in."
Last week with the
Yeah,
new language I'm learning.
yeah, yesterday morning I was struggling to pronounce a word in French. So
Yeah.
they know that what I'm saying is real, that is happening with
Hmm.
me too. And it's not because I am a polyglot that I don't face these kind of challenges. And they know that I'm human because it's there is something
Are
that
you?
this is something about polyglots, right? When we say like, oh, I speak four, five, six, seven languages,
Hmm.
people think, okay, he's a genius. That's it, superhuman. That's it, basically. But even though I can have all the facilities, I can have all the genes inclined to learn
Hmm.
languages.
Hmm.
I have a sentence, a phrase in my mind that is hard work beats talent. So it doesn't matter how my
Definitely.
brain is prepared or inclined to learn languages. If I don't do what I have to do, I won't learn any language.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I always like to point that to students. Even though I'm really good at it, I created strategies. I have my own strategies. I have my own ways of learning.
Hmm.
If I don't put the hard work, it's not happening. I'm not going to learn a language.
Now, going back to fostering autonomy, why do you think this is essential for language learners? Why do you think it is important that they become autonomous? Well, we know the answer, but I would like to hear it through your way of thinking. And what is the impact that this has in your experience in the learning process?
So I would say first that it is essential to show to the students how important they are in the learning process. Because some students, they come to us and they think because they have us in their lives, it's done. Okay, half work is done because I have a teacher now. And they forget they need to put hard work to make it happen. That's something that I do, that I teach them and I show them very patiently. I show them how important it is for them to be autonomous and to be able to make decisions in terms of picking material, in terms of choosing what series they're going to watch, why, what's the reason, how is that going to help them in the learning process, what kind of music listen to, and how to do this movement towards harder things that they can watch that can be more complicated, more advanced, so they
Mm,
can keep developing because some students they do really well up to B1, B2 level, and they get lost. Okay, so what should I do now? And then I like to show them, okay, so you have been watching Friends for, I don't know, a whole year. So isn't it time for you to move on and go
to House
and
of Cards.
so, yeah, something like that. Yeah, House of Cards,
Yeah.
House of the Dragon, or something like that. where you'll find different vocabulary, advanced structures, and different ways of using the language.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is something that I like to do with all of them. It doesn't matter the level that the student is. When they come to me, I want to understand where they are and what they want to do next. Because I know all of the teachers, they know the students should study at home, but just giving them homework and telling
Mm-hmm.
them, oh, you should study at home, you should study
Mm-hmm.
when you're not in class is something easy, something simple. But how should we show the students that they need to do it and what they can do it in order to keep developing besides the classroom?
Mm-hmm. And this reminds me of a conversation we had in the past, in which you told me that you never take for granted that they already know something. That at the beginning of every new student, as an independent teacher, you have this practice of showing them very simple things, from using a software to how to, I don't know, you don't just recommend an app, you teach them how to use it in class. You use the time of the class to make them independent, right? So I think this is something really interesting and useful that everybody should um, take into account when teaching,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Even very basic tools like Google Translator, like it's
Mm,
a
mhm.
tool, and everybody uses it, but some people don't know how well they could be using it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is something that I like to do. Like I am here with the student. Let's do that together. So I show them what I do. So and sometimes this is actually funny because I show them using the language that I'm studying, not exactly English. You know, but maybe
Mhm.
the students are studying English with me, but I show them how I do that to translate something to German, for example, so they
Mhm.
understand what is the process and how it works for me to use the tool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, every teacher should know how to do that. And this is not something that comes easily, I think. It comes maybe from this place of empathy that you mentioned earlier on. And speaking of teachers, what are challenges that you think teachers face when they're trying to do what you do, when they're trying to foster autonomy?
I think biggest challenge would be time management. People struggle a
Mm,
lot with that because we're living a moment in society where everybody's in which everybody's out of time or anything.
yeah.
So okay, I'm already studying, I'm already having classes, I do not have much free time. And then this is something that I also do that I show my students in my daily basis. I tell them what I've been doing. So I tell them, so yeah, today I woke up and I was brushing my teeth and listening to podcasts in Japanese. It was only 10 minutes, 5 minutes maybe. And but I did something to learn Japanese. What did you do to learn English today? So I think time management is something because they really don't see that they can the amount of time is so little that they think it's not worthy. Oh yeah, I'm not going to do that for 5 minutes, right? What's the point?
Mm-hmm,
What's the
mm-hmm.
difference if I do like
Let
five
me
minutes?
wait until I have 4 hours to fully
Exactly.
dedicate. Yeah.
And that's actually something that I really like to do with them to show them that it's not even good for them to start. It's not because you have just started your classes that you're going to study for 2 hours every day. Don't do that. I tell them, don't do that. Initially, that's not good because learning is not part of your routine yet. So
Mm,
you need first to turn this into something that is part of your routine, that is going to come naturally to you. And then I
mhm,
tell them my experience. For me, it's supernatural to just open Netflix and then watch anime in German, watch anime in Italian, in French, because I want to keep practicing. I love watching animes, so why not
doing
use
it in the language that you are trying to learn.
exactly. So I
Mm,
like to show them
mhm,
that I know it's complicated, and I have had students that are mothers, for example, and self-employed, So they would be working all day long, having kids at home. So they would be literally out of time. It's not just an expression. They would be literally they would have no time at all. But I would try to show them the moments they could try to find time and do the least. Okay, you will
So
have
you actually look into their calendars and try to help them into with finding slots.
yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
interesting.
I like when they tell me how their routine is like, so I can understand and I can exercise my empathy. For example, in these cases where we're talking about a single mother taking care of kids and being self-employed, like it's not so. It's easy for me. It's simple for me to tell. Okay, you should watch movies every weekend. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but is it real? Is it possible? Is it something that could be part of her reality? So I like to understand where they're coming from so I can show them what strategies they can still apply and have better results learning the language.
Got it.
So then it comes back to empathy. So I really like to understand the profile of the students so I can help them in the best possible way.
Yeah, it sounds to me that this is what really personalized classes look like. So, speaking about the upcoming workshop we're about to release on fostering autonomy in the classroom, what do you think the teachers could expect from this workshop?
I thought a lot about tools that can be easily applied
Mm-hmm.
in the classroom and also for how they can show the students can do this by themselves. Things related to time management, checklists, goal setting, and material choosing, picking are things that can be easily applied uh, for both the teacher that is going to watch it as well as to the student that will receive that from the teacher later.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Thank you for joining me today, Paulo. It was a pleasure.
Thanks. I thank you. That's
And thank you for watching. I hope you found this conversation with Paulo very insightful, as I did, and that it gave you some ideas to take into your own teaching practice. If you would like to learn more, be sure to check Paulo's workshop on fostering autonomy in the classroom. It is a workshop packed with practical tips and strategies. Don't forget to follow me here and on my platform for more conversations like these. See you next time.